Hey everyone, it's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees with another little snippet from the December 11th Finance Committee hearing, this time with Michael Mulgrew.
In education, it's going to be a very difficult year for us at the state level because the state is facing some challenges that New York City is not when you look at its revenues and its projections, except for what you heard here today. And they're getting sick and tired of sending extra money to the school system of New York City only to have this administration supplant it, plunder it, whatever word you want to use, and put it into their general reserves.
So, Michael, that's kind of like in 1967 when the city council passed legislation that read, the city will pay the full cost of health coverage for every employee, retiree, and their dependent, up to the HIP HMO rate. Funding healthcare for everyone, including retirees. And then you and the MLC taking the money that was allocated for retiree health care and supplanting it or plundering it or whatever word you want to use for your purpose, like teacher raises, like your contracts, completely ignoring the promises made to retired union labor that they would have health care and Medicare on a supplemental plan paid for by the city of New York because we earned that. And you supplanted and plundered that. Thanks, Michael. Michael Mulgrew, second snippet. Still the December 11th, 2023 Finance Committee hearing.
This is the part that's mind-boggling. The state and federal government have, for the last 2 years, have funded New York City schools at record numbers, and the only governmental agency that has cut has been its own. It's mind-boggling. They are supplanting the money, straight up. And it was the 589 was the base increase that the entire state received. Plus we received the additional foundation aid, which was $1.3 billion last year. And that is there specifically to pay for our class size reduction. So this is the bigger issue here is this game, this horrible, disgusting game is going on in New York City. I'm telling you all, it is going to affect us in Albany because Albany is going to get sick and tired of sending additional money only to have an administration take the money and put it into their reserves and then claim that Albany's not doing enough for them. So right now, state elected officials are, I get the phone calls. They're right there, they're doing their things like all you guys do. They're out in their communities and they're getting yelled at for doing education cuts. General public doesn't understand this. All they know is they hear the schools are being cut. So they want to hold every elected official accountable. And so they're getting sick and tired of this. So maybe we should all advocate together. We need a greater maintenance of effort law in Albany because it has to be earmarked. You cannot supplant your portion of the money out and put it into your reserves and then expect somebody else. There's no other school district in the state doing this. Taking state money and saying, oh, great, so you gave us this amount, so we're not going to spend it over here, we'll supplant out. And that's what's been going on for the last 2 years. So, yes, you should ask him that question, because I keep asking that question. And the only response I've ever seen publicly was when the mayor said, that's the way these things work. Well, yes, I know there was a previous mayor, not the one right before him, the one before that, who was very good at supplanting also. But this is unconscionable that the state of New York is fulfilling its commitment that we fought for over 2 decades for, and that we have an administration supplanting that money out of our schools. That money is for the children of New York City. It is not to grow the reserves of New York City to unprecedented amounts. I mean, even under your own rules, the $8 billion surplus, you have to reallocate $1.5 billion of that. You have to, this year alone. And then next year you got to do another $1.5 billion because of the way your timing and your rollouts go. So this is just a big, horrible game where a lot of families are going to be hurt.
Thank you.
So, Michael, let's talk about supplanting, because we've mentioned it before. And what you did was took money that was allocated in a budget for almost 60 years to retired persons, and you supplanted it, and Henry supplanted it, and the MLC supplanted it to fund you, to finance your welfare funds, to finance your health care, to finance plans that don't benefit a Medicare eligible retiree like PICO. You supplanted our funding. You enriched your welfare funds by selling off retiree access to Medicare and using the money that was allocated in the budget for Medicare eligible retirees in the form of our city supplemental plan. That makes you just as guilty as the people in this video that you're expressing your disgust for. Sorry, Mike. Put you in the same swamp.